Well, hello guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of It's Steven Time. I'm your host, Stephen Alexander. In today's episode, I have Tony Varnell, who is the founder and CEO of Legacy Builders Foundation here to discuss his mission to mentor and inspire young men. So kick back and relax. You're watching It's Steven Time.
There's a Steven Show, the Steven Show, the Steven Show, yeah.
As we all know, building relationships is the key component to a successful human interaction. Our guest today is no stranger to that. With a career spanning more than 22 years in education with the Metropolitan Davidson County School System, he continues to outreach young men through his foundation. Here with me today is Tony Varnell. So how are you, Tony?
How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I'm all over the place, but I'm good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get started, I just want to know a little bit about your childhood. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Well, yeah, I grew up in South Nashville,
Okay.
Hill area.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir. And we went to single parent home. Had a great childhood growing up. Had a child when I was 14 years old.
Wow, 14.
14 years old, yes, sir. Had a son. And so that really kind of changed, the journey of my childhood.
Yeah.
Grew up pretty fast.
So how was that for you? Was that a struggle for you finding that? Because you were 14, you were a kid.
Yeah.
So a kid having a kid, how did you juggle, like, okay, I have to be a man now, I have to provide. So how did that?
Well, my mom made sure she provided, the parental care of it, but she also held me accountable. I had to be responsible. That means getting up at night. It means changing diapers, learning how to do the things that you do as a parent.
Right. So I would like to know, just in your lifetime, did you have any mentors in your life?
Well, I had quite a few. Well, I know I had a guy named Harry.
Mm-hmm.
He was from Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Take that back. That's how I became, he was a part of the Boys and Girls Club. So he came into my life and he took me to my first Steelers game when I was 13 years old. And so since then, as you can see, I've been a Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. It's all over your Facebook. You were a big supporter of them.
Absolutely.
Yes. So how did he influence you? Like, how did he influence you?
Well, he gave me the male support, the male encouragement, the advice. Just a pat on the back to say keep going. Even though I was African American male, and he still was consistent and poured into me. So it just kind of gave me a sense of urgency just to keep going and look for better. Yeah.
So with that being said, like, how did you have like a father figure in your life? Did you have your father in your life?
Well, to be really honest, my dad was there, but he wasn't there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the mentors kind of help with that, like that absence, filling that absence from your father, right?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Wow. So that's pretty cool. So you're passionate about helping young men specifically just find themselves.
Yes, sir.
How does that allow you to, I don't know, how does it make you feel?
Well, it's a strong passion that God gave me, my ministry and the mission to go beyond the call of duty, to be consistent, to be trustworthy, to change the lives of these young men that a lot of people give up on. I myself, coming up, I had some issues with being in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some issues of not really knowing who I was, just because of, my surroundings and that type of thing. I will state that I know a lot of people talk about it now, but as a man now, for 48 years, I thank God for allowing me to be able to express this and to heal from this, because when I was 10 and 11 years old, I was in a situation where someone very, very close to me, just kind of took advantage.
So when you say took advantage, what do you mean, like molested you?
Yeah, well, I'd say, just put me in situations that I, now know wasn't, what was supposed to happen.
Right.
And for so many years, I struggled just to find out, just to try to find who I was, even, from high school on up until, my adult years, I still didn't know who I was, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to find, why am I thinking this? Am I supposed to do this until, just here recently? And for so many years, just to be depressed and, trying to hide behind the mask, but I thank God for freedom. Yeah. Yeah, and so for so many years, I fought to make sure that these young men didn't have to take the same journey that I did. And so they'll tell you, a lot of guys say, oh, Mr. V is so worse than y'all in our business. But that's what that's why I'm so passionate, and adamant about making sure that I meet these young men at the heart.
Right. So with that being said, I'm gonna make a small transition. So you were in the metropolitan school system for over 22 years, right? Working with kids. So with that experience outside of your foundation, how was that for you? Because you were in contact with lots of children at that time, not just men, but ladies as well. So how was that?
Let me backtrack a little bit. Even after the situation happened with men, even with me growing into, a positive young man, I still struggled. And I went to college and played basketball, but things got so overwhelming for me that I tried to commit suicide. Literally. I can remember as we sit here and speak, I was attending Aquinas College. I was, had prepared myself for school. I had my USA Olympic jersey on, Scottie Pippen. I was watching Price is Right on TV. But I was just in a state of I didn't care. My heart was so hardened that I just said, I can't do it no more. So I just kind of had 2 mugs of hot tea, poured all the pills I could find into this, drank the first mug and half of the second one, and just found myself just kind of, dozing off to the point where they found me 12 and a half hours later.
Wow.
In the fetal position inside the closet, and in the closet that you pull back. Somehow I must have had some kind of seizure and my leg popped out, and my sister found me when she came home from college. And so literally they said that every organ in my body should have exploded. You know what I mean? And, from that point on, they took me to the hospital, they pumped my stomach. And normally they keep you for observation, psychic stuff, just to give you tests and stuff. And I can just remember they sent me home the same day. It was a struggle for me. I mean, my family was hurt, but I was looking for, a solution, somebody to help me get this off of me. And I can recall even getting home, and that night I had a dream. I was reading this book, Good Morning, Holy Spirit by Benny Hinn. I don't never really, read anything like that, but I read this book and I fell asleep with it on my chest, and something I woke up and it was like a glaze. Someone was standing in front of me. It was just like a presence I just can't even begin to tell you, but now I know what it was. Now, you know what I mean? And so I was screaming, "Mama!" but she couldn't hear me. So I guess it went away. And so the next night, the same thing happened. But something grabbed me while I was asleep, and it was like tussling. I got up out of the bed, went through the bedroom, hallway, living room, trying to get to the front door, open the door, whatever this was, I threw it out, and it just kept coming back. This happened for like 15 minutes.
Wow.
The last time I threw it out, the shield came down.
So my question to you with that, that experience, that's been with you and it's gonna be with you all your life, right? Looking back at that, how does it make you feel to look at that and overcome what you went through, that hard time of wanting to kill yourself?
Well, God had a purpose for me. That's the first thing. And I look back at, I'm grateful and I'm blessed to still be standing here, sitting here, still being advocate for our young people. Being that voice that a lot of them don't have. That it's a blessing. So I take it so seriously. Like this is what I do. This is my passion to the heart and beyond. So, yeah, and it just makes it so worth it. Even if sometimes it's a struggle, but the outcome is so rewarding. Just seeing a change, seeing them become who God wants them to be.
Right. And how do you when you share your story, do you find a lot of young men identify with that story of wanting to kill themselves or anything like that? Have you found any of that in the organization?
Yeah, up until recently, I haven't really even said anything about that.
Wow. So you've just started to talk about it.
Just started talking.
So how did you get to a place where you could start talking about it? Because that's deep, and you can't just wake up one day and say, "I'm gonna start talking about it." That's deep. How did you get to that place?
It takes time and maturity. It takes you doing a lot of soul searching and realize that this thing is bigger than you are, and because of what you went through, somebody else can be blessed from it. So I just made it to the point where, hey, somebody can be blessed by what I went through.
Right.
And so, by the word of your testimony. And so now I just feel like that, it's my time, it's my season to, God told me nations. And so by any means necessary, that means even expressing what I went through. Yeah, so.
I want to know, like, the shame and the guilt of it. Did you feel that? And how, because sometimes we put a lot of stuff on ourselves that we cannot control. You get what I'm saying? We blame ourselves for things that happened to us that we didn't do to ourselves. How did you do that? And how did you navigate through that?
All the time. It was rough. Shame because when you don't know who you really are, and you hear stuff and people say stuff, and people have ran me to the ground with this. Why is he so adamant about helping these young men? Why is he so involved? Why is this and that? But at the end of the day, I really realized that what I went through, wasn't just for me. It was, like I said, bigger than me, and I had to, push all the naysayers, all the hate, all the talking aside, and realize that I'm still standing. God created me to be who I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, I could go on and on about it, but I just I'm grateful, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll have more with you. We have to take a commercial break, but guys, stay tuned with us. You're watching IST.
You can help support Austin Peay students who don't have enough to eat by donating to the Save Our Students Food Pantry. The Save Our Students Food Pantry is looking for soup, pasta, canned meat, canned beans, peanut butter, and fruit. You can drop off your donations at the food pantry on Holm Avenue. It's open Tuesdays through Friday, 8:30 until 4. For more information, call 221-1620, a campus reminder from Austin Peay.
I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Jackson, Tennessee.
Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Gaffney, South Carolina.
Seattle, Washington.
Jeremy, Haiti.
I'm from Três Pontas, Brazil.
Chicago, Illinois.
Hawaii.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Brazelton, Georgia.
From Modesto, California. I want to be a neonatal nurse, athletic trainer, and accountant.
Playing the NFL.
Interior designer. Physical therapist.
Law enforcement officer.
Ultrasound technician.
Social worker.
Physician.
Politician.
Psychologist.
CPA.
Your social worker.
Nurse practitioner.
Physical therapist.
Restaurant owner.
A politician. Start my own business.
Veterinary.
Elementary school teacher.
NBA player.
Cardiovascular surgeon.
Anesthesiologist.
Businesswoman in Nashville.
Social worker in Miami, Florida.
Politician in Washington, D.C.
Colorado.
Orlando, Florida. Houston, Texas.
In Chattanooga.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Seattle, Washington.
Nashville, Tennessee.
San Diego, California.
Nashville, Tennessee.
New York City, New York.
San Diego, California.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Nashville.
Los Angeles, California.
New York, New York.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Orlando, Florida.
Los Angeles, California.
Baltimore, Maryland. Clarksville, Tennessee.
Carolina Beach, Carolina.
Philadelphia.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Stephen Alexander. I have with me founder and CEO of Legacy Builders, Tony Varnell. So welcome back, Tony. So what was your motivation behind starting your own foundation?
Well, I started the foundation in memory of my oldest brother, Keith, who passed away of Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and he was my everything, my father figure, big brother, friend, everything. It's really devastated me. So in this memory, I started the Varnell Foundation. We started off with the I See My Future Youth Crusade, where we gave scholarships to high school seniors who had already been accepted to college. Mm-hmm. So remember my brother's love of sports, giving, just the giving heart that he had. That's why I started.
That's why you started. Wow. So my next question to you is can you describe some of the challenges you've had with trying to start your own foundation? Because you might not have a lot of support. You know how it is when trying to start up something. You don't have support, people talking about you, and some of the same people say they will support you, they don't. So can you talk about some of the challenges you had with that?
Like I said, really the biggest challenge is financial support. Mm-hmm. I've always been blessed to have young men, more than I could handle sometimes. But yeah, the biggest issue was finances. I pushed through. A lot of the funding came from myself and a few donors that would give periodically, but the bulk of the weight was on my shoulders.
Right.
Yeah, but we persevered and got through it, and way was made.
So do you teach a lot of the young men in the foundation to give back?
Absolutely.
So how do you teach them to give back to their peers?
Well, lead by example. That's the first thing.
That's big. And what you mean by that?
Take for instance, we were on our college road trip last year, spring break in New Orleans, and we were walking down the street, and the homeless people are all on the side. So I decided to take some money out of my pocket and give two of them some money. So I noticed that they watched what I did, and so that night we went out for dinner. I noticed I was walking by myself, and I turned around, and they all had stopped and pulled money out, and was giving. I'm talking like $5, $6 to two
Wow.
people. It was amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
So have you ever thought of yourself as, you were placed in this position to be an example, so that way other people can look at you and be inspired? Because like you said earlier, it's not about you, but it's about the fact that you were placed in this position. God put you here so that a lot of the young men can see, oh my goodness, like I can lead by example to do that. Mm-hmm. How does it make you feel to know that?
I mean, I'm just overjoyed, man, just to see even the ones that people say they're not gonna make it, they can't change, right before your eyes, the change happens.
Right.
So, You know, I tell my guys all the time, and we quote this all the time, and it says that you have the power and the authority to change your situation, so we'll speak life. So we say that all the time. That's the affirmation that we speak into existence. So, like I said, leading by example, it doesn't take much, just got to be consistent with it.
Right. So obviously you teach your men to have higher standards for themselves. And with education, why is being educated so important? I mean, that's a simple answer. You want to be educated, but why is it so important? And why do young people need to strive to be educated?
Absolutely. Well, a lot of the guys, you know, they are into sports or into rapping and all that kind of stuff. Without education, without making the grades, without the proper ACT score, there's not much you can do. Nobody's gonna look at you. You're a great player, but your grades are not good, so we're gonna pass you over. So with the legacy builders, it's a requirement for them to have a 3.0 GPA. We're striving to make a 21 or better on your ACT. I do school visits, so I don't play about your work and your behavior. That goes for home and school. I'm on top of it. You know what I mean? So once they see that they got somebody that's going to be consistent and push them, we have ACT boot camp on Saturdays. You know, they sacrifice to come out and one-on-one time to learn better so they can do better on the ACT test. So
wow, that's really good right there. So how have you found that a lot of the guys reacted to that? Were they happy that you pushed them and strived for them to? No.
Not at all.
Why?
Well, because they're not used to it. I had to, really understand. I used to really get on myself like, hey, I shouldn't have done this or that. But tough love is the key. Yeah. Consistency is the key. And once they know that that's the requirement, they know what's expected. Sometimes you may not see the change, but when the progress report comes out, when the report card comes out, or when the behavior report comes out from home and school, you're just like, wow, And I really don't say a lot, but I just, that's one of the things I see,
Right.
Staying on top of.
Well, it looks like we got to wrap up again. You'll be with us again for the next segment, but we must take a quick commercial break. But you're watching IST. Welcome back. I'm your host, Stephen Alexander, and now it's time for us to get in the zone. And the topic for today is finding your identity. So I'm joined here with Tony, and then we have Ashawn, right? LaShawn. I'm sorry, I apologize. Ashawn. Okay. All right. So how are you today?
I'm fine.
Okay. So can you give me just a description about your position in the foundation?
I've been here for like a year, so like I'm kind of a leader, but it's more above me, but I'm getting there.
Okay. So how has the being in Legacy Builders allowed you to grow and become more of who you are?
It shows me who I'm. Like Mr. Varnell, he keeps us in check. He makes sure we don't do wrong. He makes sure we lead others. Like say someone doing bad, like we go over to a trip or something. He makes sure that we keep them in check and keep ourselves in check. He shows us what not to do and what to do and what's right and what's wrong.
Right. And why do you feel like he cares enough to do that for you guys?
Like earlier we all was talking about his past. It shows that like he just keeping us in check so we don't have the same thing that happened to him.
Right.
Or something bad or worse to happen to us.
Right. So how did you find out about the foundation? Because I mean, did you know about it? Did you know Tony before? Or how
No, like it's his person. Who else is in the group? His name is Marquez. It's him. Then it was my brother. Then my brother put me in it. So I met him like it was. What was we at? When we had like eating. I was eating, and I met him there with me and my brother.
Okay. So in what ways would you say Mr. Varnell has helped you with finding like the importance of education and like, do you know what you want to do like after you graduate and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I want to be a computer engineer.
That's cool, right
He just
there.
made me take that choice. Like keeping my grades up. Like I'm in physics, and like my grade in physics is really good. And like he keeps me on track. Like he said earlier, he pops up on school. You don't know when he gonna come on us.
Yeah.
He showed up on us a couple times. He pops up on us so to keep us in check.
Yeah, I think that's cool what you just said. And I want to say for you, never give up on what you want to do, because what you want to do is what you want to do. Nobody can tell you what you can't do and how you should do it. Because like I have my mom here today and I'm grateful for that. But as I look at her and she's watching me now, she always instilled into me, and it's always good to have somebody in your corner. So I think that's great you have Mr. Varnell in your corner to help you and guide you, to let you know that you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish in life, as long as you believe it. Now the question is, do you believe it?
I believe very much.
You believe it? Okay, that's good. So how do you try to be an example for your peers? Because I know, how old are you?
I'm 15.
You 15. So I know at 15, some of your peers are doing different things, good or bad. So how do you try to step out of the box? Or do you step out the box?
I step out of the box.
Okay.
Like at school, like how people normally be with like 13 different people. I'm just me and my girlfriend that I talk to. Like I'm quiet in class. I help others to make sure others help others, to keep myself in check and to show them how to keep their self in check and how to keep their hygiene on top like each other.
That's right. All right. So how does it make you feel to listen to him?
Man.
How does it make you feel?
I'm so impressed. I'm so grateful to be a part of the process. I promise I am. Tell me your GPA.
Yeah, what's your GPA?
I have a 3.5.
3.5. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome right there, 3.5. So, like, I know it's hard trying to get a 3.5. So what do you study every night? How do you
like my mom, she's a doctor. So my mom stayed on this, like she did in school. My mom never made a C in school, so she wanted us to have the same expectation as her.
Right. So you got your mom on you, you got Mr. Varnell on you just got everybody on you, right? Well, guys, I thank you both for coming to the show. They're telling us we got to wrap up. This has been a great show. You guys are welcome back anytime. And for our viewers and for just anybody listening, watching, and for the crew here working behind the scenes, I thank you guys for your time and just being patient with me over the seasons, and I really do appreciate it. So anyways, all I have to say, see you guys next week with more news and entertainment. And always remember to, let's go Peay.